Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Welcome to a pickled home companion. A conversation between newfound long-lost friends. A podcast about another podcast. From two aging frontmen of ska bands. Do not worry, it's less strange than it sounds. It's a pickle home companion. Onward, pickle soldiers.
Well, it's been a busy week here in Lake Skabegon, my hometown. In today's Untold Stories episode, we look back at some conversations with Eric from Pocket Vinyl about Norwegians, vinyl collecting, and teenagers. Then we hear from Dana Fuggin B of the 2 Week Notice podcast about letting interviews flow naturally.
I remember my mother told me I guess my grandfather said this for something. It rhymes and it's in English, so I hesitate about its authority. But it was always 1,000 Swedes ran in the weeds, chased by a crippled Norwegian. That was like a little rhyme growing up that I would hear sometimes around.
Do we have to bleep all of that? We got to figure out like where.
That's
how much offense did we provide to one Nordic?
Hey, here's the thing.
Nightmare-inducing.
They're among some of the happiest people in the world.
Yeah, because they can chase people, even when they're crippled.
True. No, I just mean anyway. If your grandfather was Scandinavian, you can make fun of other Scandinavians.
Sure,
that's right.
Of course,
those are the rules.
I believe I'm in the clear.
Yeah, no, my grandfather was also partially Norwegian, and so I'm right there with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, boo on those guys.
My mother's
those other guys.
maiden name is Mindrabo, which is the kind of Americanized version of Mindraba, which is where my grandfather was from. And so his last name, it was like so old school and kind of rural that his last name was just the town he was from.
Yeah.
So that, like it's that recent that they did that. I always thought that was like a 300 or 400 year ago thing, but like it was 20th century.
Kind of like our friend Pete Providence.
That's me, Pete Providence.
And Jared
Fries.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Fries, New York.
And you know what? The joke's on you. It's Freeze. Okay.
Oh, well then why is it spelled Fries?
I know. That's what we keep asking.
You know what?
Ask the Germans. Yeah.
Thank you for voicing what we've all been thinking. Okay.
That's it.
Eric, I'm curious. You collect vinyl outside of the vinyl that you produce for your band?
Oh yeah.
Are you a vinyl guy?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. No. I love being able to just feel music. You know what I mean? It's like the most. Yeah. No. Totally. What is that leading to another question?
Yes. Next half hour or so.
Brock is also a fellow vinyl head.
So. Well, yeah. I'll just show you. This is my.
I assume all you guys are probably into vinyl records. I mean,
we are. We all love it.
I can see behind Kevin.
But Brock actively posts a picture with at least 4 vinyl per day.
Just about, yeah. So I'm just curious, like, what are some of your proudest acquisitions?
Well, so recently I found out that I have perhaps the rarest pressing of the Bends by Radiohead.
No way.
I got first into records back in 2008.
Right
as it was starting to come back. Yeah. And it was all because Radiohead is my favorite band. They released In Rainbows and they had like a special edition that came with records. And as soon as I got that, I was like, well, I guess I need a record player. And then that just kind of, CDs were sort of on the way out already, and I liked collecting those and stuff. And so that kind of made me go. But there's this guy in Rochester, New York, who owned a record store called the CD Exchange, which
represent.
Remember that?
I do. I love
place?
that place.
Yeah, it was like behind the stereo shop kind of thing.
Great. It's so sad when that closed.
I don't know if you were there when this happened, but they had a whole back room that was like unorganized stuff. And if you kind of expressed an interest to him, he'd be like, oh, do you want to check out the back? It's completely unorganized. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But if you want to flip through anything, and he at the time was like, pretty much anything you find, like $5 or whatever.
No.
And I found a copy of the Benz by Radiohead, and I was like, great. $5?
$5.
Awesome.
That'll do it.
It's been sitting in my collection for years. Last year, I was just kind of like, and it said there's a sticker on the back that says for promotional use only.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was kind of like, oh, cool. Well, last year I decided to go on Discogs and I looked it up. Come to find that this is a rare, pre-pressing, mass-produced pressing. That they actually made two mass-produced or two promo pressings to send to reviews and different things and stuff. This is the first rarer one because there's a part of the artwork that's missing in it. And it's going for $500 or $600 online.
Yeah.
Wow.
And amazing.
And I got it for $5 and I didn't even know it's been sitting. I've been listening to it every once in a while. Nice Dream has a skip, but besides that, plays great. And I've just had it for years. And now it's this kind of gem of my collection. And Elizabeth and I were thinking, should we frame it? Should we try to keep it nice? But I don't know about you, Brock, but I like my stuff. Books, board games, and vinyl are the three things I kind of collect. And with each of those things, you can get sleeves to keep things nice and clean and stuff. And I like to let stuff kind of get worn. I like it because it's
don't protect it. Yeah, the entropy is the point. Yeah,
yeah, and the fact that it won't exist someday, it makes it better somehow, rather than trying to preserve something that in itself is impreservable, just in its very essence. Same with any card game I have. I know a lot of people with who will immediately put all the cards in a board game or whatever in sleeves, different things, and I want them to get dirty. I want them to get bent. I want them to get. I want that game to be loved. So we've decided for that Benz thing, we're not going to sell it. And I'm not a collector necessarily either, too. There have been other times where I've realized I've had a rare thing and I'll just sell that and get the normal copy of the thing.
Right.
Just make some extra money. But
straight up,
Radiohead's, they're the biggest influence on me, one of my favorite bands ever. And I was like, yeah, that Benz copy, it's gem, but I'll still just put it on and play it until it can't be played again.
Yeah, that one's special. Makes sense. Yeah. I'm with you in that my collection is a functional collection. There's nothing that I'm like, oh, you can't play it. I think it was, is it Anna Green Gables or is it something else where someone says that piano isn't meant to be played. And it's absurd because of course the piano was built to be played. So
and that goes back to what I was talking about hitting it very hard and screaming and stuff. It's
that's right.
The thing existing means it deserves to be worn out in a way.
Yeah.
And that goes with almost anything of any medium.
That being said, I put plastic sleeves around my records, but
but how do you tell when you're looking for one it blocks the spine?
Yeah, I know it's tough.
Ooh, yeah,
that sucks, man.
It does.
Yeah, that's not worth it, in my opinion.
It's worth it to me.
I'm fair, and I respect that, but it and myself, it's I don't know. I have a few other ones.
I'm with you on letting it live and letting it exist and let it get worn. If you like it, you use it. Yeah,
right. I will say, and I'll admit, and I'll meet you here. I do have a few records. I have an old copy of Leonard Cohen's first album.
Nice.
That's kind of. I don't think it's worth much or anything, but it's worn, and I have that one in a sleeve. But partly because it's the outer jacket is really on its last legs.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of to just contain it. Yeah. So there are a few exceptions like that, but just recently, I don't know if any of you are video gamers, but at Record Store Day, I got the soundtrack to Hollow Knight, performed only on piano. Has any of you played Hollow Knight?
Very nice. I do not.
Okay,
I played it a little bit. Yeah.
You take this one, Kevin.
One of my top 5 favorite games of all time. It's Metroidvania for those listening at home. There is at least 2 or 3 listeners who are like, hell yeah, like who are like going like, yes, Hollow Knight, absolutely.
And if you're also into Hollow Knight, call 985-28 squid. Right, go ahead.
Type in Hollow Knight at stamps.com for a
That's right.
15% off your first order.
And you get a digital scale. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And $50 free postage.
Right.
No, but it's
Hollow
like
Knight.
it's Hollow Knight, but it's the soundtrack, but all done on a piano, and it's on 2 vinyls, and it's like one of those vinyl records that you open up. It's a gatefold with like pages, like a book.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? And
the built-in booklet is a very cool thing.
Yeah, probably my favorite. I have a Joanna Newsom's album East, and that has a built-in booklet. The whole thing, it's like a storybook because she's a very lyrical person, and they present her lyrics with like images and stuff as if it's like a children's storybook.
That's
in
cool.
the final.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, those are kind of my more recent ones that pop into my head.
Yeah.
I
am hoping that they put out on vinyl the soundtrack to Extreme Days.
Extreme Days. Yeah.
There's a running joke here that I bring out Extreme Days at least once a podcast, and here is my opportunity. So there it is.
I'm glad you did.
Can you name one song that's on that soundtrack?
Extreme Days by Toby Mac.
Extreme Days.
Is that a Christian movie? Or
yeah, baby. Oh, it's
a movie of Christians.
It's got Ralphio on there. Ralphio. Or Rufio.
Wait.
Sorry, Rufio. Sorry, not Ralphio.
Okay,
Ralphio is.
I'm glad you caught it because I was about to berate you that it was Rufio. My
it was Rufio. I apologize. I apologize for apologizing.
Brock, show us your bootleg copy.
Both apologies accepted.
Thank you.
Do you have a bootleg copy of what?
Well, that's extreme.
That's not bootleg. That's
not bootleg. That's
Toby
I
Mac.
actually also have that.
The title track, yeah.
But the Toby Mac by Toby Mac. Yes, title track by Toby Mac. This
the
was
Mac who's back with no slack. Yeah.
This was actually released 2001 and just shortly after 9/11. That's why no one really knows about it. But anyway, so
9/11 hurt a lot of people that day,
including Extreme Days.
Hey, never forget Extreme Days.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Okay. But yes, so there's my one connection. Go ahead.
So I will, to tie into the movie business, one fun thing. Last summer, Elizabeth and I had the honor of being in a small D.I.Y. horror movie, which is yet to come out. But we're also doing the soundtrack of it, which we will be releasing on vinyl.
Oh, cool.
But
cool.
Yeah, I get to die and then pop out of someone's body in a full latex suit covered in blood at the end of it.
That's fantastic.
Spoiler alert.
Hope it's good. It's going to be great. I'm pretty like the script is good. The acting was good. Oh, Elizabeth, if I may.
Yeah, please.
I don't know how, if you, with your significant others, if you've ever had a moment where I've known her for a long time, outside of like some quick pocket vinyl videos or whatever, I haven't seen her really act, but she's the main character in this horror film. And the whole thing, they were pocket vinyl fans who made it and like said at a show, like one thing led to another and talked to us and got us in this film. To know someone so intimately, so well, and then to be there. I had a more minor role in the film, but then I was like, I kind of helped out on crew for the rest of the time. Again, it was a very small production. And Elizabeth is a great actor. She is really good at acting. And to watch someone you love do an art form that you didn't know they were fantastic at, like 13, 14 years into a relationship, it was awesome. Like the best experience. I say that as a caveat, who knows how the edit looks, how the camera, like, it's in the room. It was amazing. And I don't know what the camera picked up or whatever, but script was good. The music's going to be good. The acting was great. As long as the editing, which I feel pretty confident about those working on it and stuff, I think it's going to be like just a fun kind of horror movie. Awesome. It's all, it's going to come out, I don't know, probably sometime, maybe next year, something like that. But We will be releasing that on vinyl, unlike Extreme Days, which disappoints us all.
Missed out. No.
Missed opportunities.
That's a great point. You just you never stop learning about the people you love because you're going to keep loving what you learn about them.
Yeah. And to watch someone do something that I just like, I knew she had acted in like theater and stuff in like high school and stuff. I never saw her in anything. And just to see her like do a really great job is just like, okay. It's almost frustrating because Elizabeth is kind of good at a lot of different art.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she did. Like most people know her for her show paintings and oil paints and stuff, but like she's just anything in her hands, she's great at. She's a good sculptor. You don't know that. She doesn't do it too often, but she's really good at sculpting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, I wish that upon all of you to see the person you love do a new art form that you had no idea they were amazing at someday, because it's a wonderful thing to see.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. My wife had no idea what a good podcaster I was.
I assume she's just like smiling with awe, slightly off camera this entire time.
Always. Yeah, every time.
Like, oh, what a great comment. Yeah. Oh,
he's so witty.
My wife doesn't even know I podcast.
So. On the chin. Do you have only daughters?
I only have daughters, so yeah,
okay.
That's just
there
like
you
my
go.
default.
Yeah,
two
no,
daughters,
that makes sense.
So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So far so good, I think.
Yeah. You feel like you're doing a good job?
Yes. Yeah. They seem happy and well adjusted. And they're
how old
succeeding. Are they? 15 and 10 as of last week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. Pivotal age.
Yeah. I've heard teenagers are monsters, and maybe you don't want to go on a wreck. Is that an aspect of parenting for you these days?
Yes, but this is,
and
this
I say
is
this
funny,
as a former
actually.
Monster.
So there's definitely something to it. And then my daughter, my 15-year-old, she texted this to me, like me and my wife, last week, and it was from school. It's sideways in the pictures she sent me, so it's hard to see, but it says, where is it? So there's some reading comprehension thing, and the question is, what is the author's point of view in this article? And then your answer choices: A, teenagers lack empathy because they don't care about others. B, teenagers lack empathy is caused by underdeveloped areas of the brain. C, teenagers are naturally selfish and will grow out of it over time. Or D, teenagers are better at making decisions than adults. Any guesses on the right answer?
I would say C. Personally, that teenagers are kind of selfish and will grow out of it over time, because that was my experience.
Right. Apparently, the right answer is B. Teenagers' lack of empathy.
We didn't like Kevin or Pete.
They
didn't look like they wanted to. They were just sitting there.
I believe the answer in my experience is B.
And what was that answer again, Pete?
B never fails is all I know.
Kevin, what about you?
Sorry, I got distracted. Megan brought me in some brownies that she just made.
Did you DoorDash the upstairs again?
I did not. She did this all on her own. So
good job. But apparently, it's teenagers' lack of empathy.
Also, daughter.
Yeah.
Is caused by underdeveloped areas of the brain. And so she was trying to make the point that it's a developmental thing, and it's not because she's doesn't care about other people or is selfish. And I was like, so when I just texted her, I was like, so sounds like an excuse to me.
So when you were drop-kicked as a kid.
It's not that I have no empathy, it's that I'm stupid.
So apparently she doesn't think it's her fault if she's not empathetic at this moment for her 10-year-old sister.
I guess biologically she has ground to stand on in a way.
I know. I was like, why are you learning things that disadvantage me in this dynamic here? Why can't you learn other things in school that that don't disrupt this relationship in this way? But
well,
how's when you pay attention?
I know a few people who are parents whose kids are now in the 18-19 range, and I know, because it goes by quick, especially in the Christian world.
Hey, right?
They have them young.
Get started quicker, yeah.
Am I right?
But yeah, I mean, in all accounts, it's like, it's all. I actually, my parents love to tell me how much I was just a nightmare of a child up through like 13 or whatever, and then I started to get like good comments from teachers and authority figures that I was turning out to be a real nice boy. I was apparently a absolute monster growing up.
Me too.
They're not bad, but teenagers are different because it's just all of a sudden they very quickly form.
Everything's changing so fast too. It's like, you know what I mean? It's hard to keep up.
They just get a lot more like uninterested in your opinion, and matter of fact of like they say things to you like you're the uninformed one, like that maybe you're a little dumb and you're like, I know what you're talking about. Like,
right.
You're like, well, now I'm insulted.
Because I think they're just searching for any type of confidence or identity. And, it's like for me, I found it I defined myself very much by the art that I liked. So it was like, my favorite bands, my favorite movies, like that's who I was, you know what I mean? Because I had nothing else to judge it based on. Whereas like now, and as I got older, it's, I take such comfort in just feeling like I know who I am. And there's a lot less situations where I feel like I need to prove myself in some way, where I feel like every situation I had to prove myself when I was a teenager.
I've got a theory on the art thing. Let me see. I'm going to test it out on you guys. You see if you think it carries any weight. Because, like I felt the same way as a teenager. Like, particularly the music I listened to was like who I was. And it was like, it was important that you had the right taste, right? Like there was a judgmental part of it too. As a teenager.
I was often the one being judgy.
Yes.
Much to my embarrassing recollection. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think every teenager necessarily feels that way. And so my theory that I'm working with is if you feel like maybe a little bit more of an outsider and maybe not so cool, you attach yourself to art in like a more meaning way versus like it's the background of the music you're listening to, like in the car with your teenage friends of like you're just all listening to stuff. But I feel like when I was a teenager and people like myself who really cared about how the art defined themselves also like put a lot of value in like the lyrics and what it said and what it was. It wasn't just like, this is a bop, I like it. It was like bigger than that. And so that's my theory is like, well, if you're just like socially doing really well, you're kind of accepted and you're kind of cool. Art's more in the background because like you don't need some place to go to like feel connected to or something speaking for you because you just kind of feel seen and heard because like you're comfortable. Because I'm looking at like I think that about my oldest daughter who like by all seems reasonably popular. Her friends like her. She's fine at school. She doesn't come home and talk about like not being included or not being liked or feeling like she doesn't have any friends or those sorts of things, which I would say was different for me as a teenager. And so I think just kind of like maybe you dive into art when you not even that you don't have friends, but you have smaller groups, like, just like walk into the cafeteria and feel comfortable in all places.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And so you kind of congregate in your smaller groups where there's like somehow your identity becomes your insider selves in that group. And like you all connect over that. And that's my working theory is you connect more to art or some other things when you don't feel as comfortable in social situations. But like, I mean, my daughter cares about certain music and all that, but she's also like, she likes school. She's has plenty of friends. There's never been like a bullying incident or like anything where socially there were these issues for her where it was like hard. Besides like just general, she and her friends can disagree with each other at times, but nothing lasting or serious or that. So that's my theory on art and like the identity as a teenager.
Kevin, what do you think? You've been sitting back a lot this time.
You might be onto something with that one. Because I know, because like thinking back to like high school, it was like the kids that I hung out with, we all ended up listening to like Fugazi, Minor Threat, Nine Inch Nails, MXPX, stuff like that. They Might Be Giants, Weird Al. Yeah, real eclectic mix. But it didn't necessarily tend to be the more popular music, if that makes sense. But yeah, like I wouldn't say that like we were like the cool kids or whatever, but we didn't care because we kind of bonded over like, oh, check out this band. Like you, oh, you like music, you might like, these guys. So, yeah, you might be onto something.
Because have you guys had the comment made to like, well, like someone's telling you about something, they're like, yeah, they like music, and they're like, no, they like music like the way we like music. Not there's like this idea of like, everybody in general likes music to some degree, but you'll have that friend who's like, oh yeah, this person likes music the way we like music, like we like music, like where you talk about it, you think about it, you seek it out, you explore it. It's really active, not just something that's a background noise.
Well, I think a lot of great art is, I mean, it has at its soul a sense of conflict. And I even sometimes from stage, I kind of will joke, but I also think I believe this. I've yet to have it disproven to me satisfyingly anyway. I think every single piece of art in all mediums is just someone saying, do you feel like this too? It's always just someone being like, I feel this way. Do you feel this way? You too? You too? Me?
You too? Yeah, right.
It's and so when I think you're a kid and you're, whether maybe you're being made fun of or you feel like an outsider to some degree, whatever that is, there's a conflict there. And then when you start to experience art in any way, like music is obviously one of the more accessible kind of mediums, but I think it's just easy to plug into that and just to kind of like hear that, even without lyrics, like even if you're listening to some like instrumental post-rock band or something, like there can be a conflict and a grinding struggle that you can just relate to in the world. Whereas if everything's going well for you, maybe that's not there. But at the same time, there's a part of me that would argue that, like, I think just being human, you have to have that conflict. And, while maybe there's some people who don't necessarily gravitate towards art as much, some people gravitate more towards like sports and being active, which, you could argue is an art in itself, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, it's like, there's always the kind of the thing I've talked with a lot of people about, some who believe or some who don't, about like, you need like drugs or something to make something really cool, or like you need some sort of like, you need to go through a really sad breakup to make a beautiful song. And I've come to personally, I disagree with that. But what I think is kind of what they're getting at though with that is that, like, with when you have conflict, when you have something to work against, often it can lead to great art, because great art has conflict that exists within it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, but at the same time, I also think that just being a human in any capacity, even if you're like someone born to a rich family, like a billionaire's son with a silver spoon, there's still weird social struggles, or the various struggles that the person is going through. And they may not be the more common struggles that a lot of people go through, but it's just tough to exist. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my take on that, I guess. So it's like, yes, I agree. And also, I don't know if it feels as exclusive maybe as I thought you were first presenting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think maybe I've always said like the people who go to shows versus concerts, kind of like that relationship.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Like,
that's an interesting way to put it.
Kind of like an arena or an amphitheater where it's like, okay, I'm there and I'm here to watch the thing happen, but like from a distance, and it's really performed on stage, versus like, we all say it, like, I'm going to a show. You don't say I'm going to a concert, which generally means smaller room, less space, more access, more connectivity. Yeah. And I think most of the time that's what we're looking for out of that experience too, is not just well performed music, whatever the art form is. Not just that they did it well in a way that I like. Is like, no, I want to feel like I'm part of it. Like I want that energy in the room,
an intimacy.
Yeah, I want to like that whole experience. And I'm always amazed when people are like, "Oh, I've never really been to a concert." And I'm like, "How are you a grown adult and you've never thought this?"
Yeah,
like you are happy and why? Like I don't understand. You seem like a very like good person, but
how are you happy?
Yeah,
how do you
like,
find fulfillment?
you don't want that at all? No part of you? Or it's like they've only been to an arena or like a very large event and they've been like 3 of them in their life, and you're like, oh.
Right.
And sometimes I wonder if that's personality, and sometimes I think it's like you said, from I think for the artist perspective of you're saying, like, does anybody else feel this way? I always feel like as a like hearing the art or like the music and like connecting to it, you're like, oh, they're saying what I feel. And which is where you attach to the music or the song or the painting or whatever it is, when it like does what you feel that you don't. And maybe that's not being an artist, is like I don't know how to express it that way, but they did, so now that's what I like and I want more of it, and I feel connected to that. But it doesn't seem like everybody interacts that way with art. I mean, like, music is almost universal. It's like, I'm sure there's somebody out there that lives without music in their life, but
I've met people who say they don't like music. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've also learned that you can, any mishmash of opinions, you can, even things that seem paradoxical, you can mix them up and someone out there has that set. Like, so,
right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. If you can think of an opinion someone could have, someone has it.
Right.
So it's, I don't know, but that's also part of the joy of, I don't know, meeting people and humanity and just all the different variations and stuff. Yeah. It's with like, with music. Yeah. I don't know. I keep, as I'm hearing you talk, I keep going back and forth between like, kind of agreeing that it's like, yeah, there does need to be like a conflict or some sort of like thing to get into music, but I don't know. I'm not really sure, because at the same time, when I was a real snob about music, I thought stuff like Britney Spears was like the worst, and if you like Britney Spears, you were terrible. And now I listen to a lot of Britney Spears hits, and they are bangers, and they're great. And as soon as I got out of my own way of like some sort of thing that I don't know. I like, these bands you could like and these bands you can't like or whatever. Like, as soon as I got rid of that and I could just enjoy stuff, I'm like, yeah, Britney Spears Toxic is one of the better songs of the 2000s.
and what got me into that song was the Nickel Creek cover of Toxic. And I went, that's slamming. And I went back and listened to it. I'm like, all right, I like the original too.
Yeah. I mean, you can take pretty much any pop song and translate it to any other genre of music that you like, and they can make it sound good.
Take 1989. I mean, Taylor Swift, and then Ryan Adams covering that whole album. I mean, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's actually to tie it back to Pocket Vinyl. Right now, in 2025, we're actually releasing 4 cover albums of it's basically it's me trying to learn home recording techniques, which I've just always avoided and never done before. But we released already the Beatles' White Album.
So good. So fun.
Thanks. Which we did. Yeah. It's mostly just me and a piano, but some other stuff. In June, we have Jolene by Dolly Parton is coming out. In September, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Nutrimilk Hotel. And then Give Up by the Postal Service will be coming out in December.
Sweet.
And the Jolene, that's already done. And actually, probably tomorrow, I'm going to be starting on Nutrimilk Hotel. I'm trying to figure out how to, I don't know, make that into something original or whatever. But wait, why did I bring this up? We're talking about.
Well, we're talking about Ryan, like Ryan Adams.
Oh yeah,
covering,
like trying to,
like Nickel Creek covering songs. Toxic reinterpretation. Yeah.
Well, like, so the next one we have coming out, Jolene, Dolly Parton. I'm not a big country music fan, and part of the reason why we chose that album is because it's a great album, but it's more outside of my wheelhouse. And I would guess the wheelhouse of a lot of Pocket Vinyl fans. I don't know, but by doing that too, I feel like I understand Dolly Parton a bit more and that kind of genre of music by, like, I don't know, interacting with it. And I wouldn't have done that when I was younger. Like I wouldn't have. I don't know. I avoided country. Country was in the this sucks thing when I was growing up. And then I remember actually my brother one time, I have a brother who's 11 years older than me, and I was like telling him country sucks. He's like, "Well, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, like country music." Like, and I named like stuff that was in the top 40, and he's like, "Well, do you think the top 40 rock is the best?" And I was like, "Well, no." He's like, "Yeah, dude, the best country is not number one either." And I was just like, oh. And then it kind of opened my doors up, and that applied to all genres and stuff, and made me realize just how deep pretty much any genre can go, and how many kind of little side areas it can go. I forget why I started going down this rabbit hole.
No, I mean it is true, because it's for me, I used to work before I ended up at the same university we did. I worked at a country music radio station, and because that was the only radio. I originally went into radio and TV production, and the only radio station around in my area was this AM radio station that played exclusively country. I used to throw in a little bit, like I'd throw in a little Sheryl Crow or a little Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, just because it fit. Because Cheryl was going through her country Americana phase.
Yeah.
The Sweetest Mistake, got me many a bathroom break. So, and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. But I felt the same way about country, and because all I was playing was the top 40 country hits.
Yeah.
And then I would listen to a CD, because we had a bunch of them there, and I'd be like, all right, well, that's the hit, but this is a sick track. Like, why aren't we playing this one?
Yeah.
So it was very even with your top 40 country artists, I would be like, well, that shouldn't have been the hit. This one should have been.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that now with even with every single Pocket Vinyl album in my head when we're releasing it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's this what these are like the best songs, and like we're proud of all of them, but some I'm like, oh, that'll be one that's more of a deep cut or whatever. Every single time there's one song that I'm like, that's surely a deep cut that we release an album. People are like, that song is so good. And I'm like, that one? What about like these other ones? These ones though, right? And they're like, yeah, those are great. But like this one is great. And I've talked with other musicians and other things too. This is a common phenomenon where it's just I think it's just because you're like so close to your music. It's just you don't know what the thing that you like, what your best stuff is, because I'm constantly surprised by what people think is our best stuff and what I think is our best stuff. They hardly ever align.
That's interesting. Yeah, and that's true for like I mean, I was trying to look up this album, like, because I was going to bring it back to Switchfoot just because that's what I do, and like their song "Where I Belong" is like a stalwart ending song that they do every concert now, but that. Or I don't know. I can't speak for them, but if you're listening, come on the pod. That isn't like a track that they necessarily thought was going to be their big hit, but that is the one. That's the song I personally am most connected with, and I've had conversations with the guys about that. The line, "I'm not sentimental. This skin and bones is a rental." If I ever got a tattoo, sorry Squids, that would be the line I would get, as a tattoo before I got Furnace Fest stuff. So, like, just a song like that you don't think is going to connect with somebody is like, that line sticks with me.
Oh, yeah.
Here's an example of, so when I interviewed Ace Enders of the early November, we had a whole plan because they were just about to go on tour and play their record, The Room's Too Cold. It was like a 20-year anniversary thing. And we both went into the episode with the intention, and I had like 2-3 pages of notes to do a deep dive on that record. And we went like an hour without talking about it at all. And then at the end, I was like, all right, dude, like, do you have more time? Because we should talk about the record a little bit. And we did. But in that moment, I remember consciously being like, this is one of the best conversations I've ever had, podcasts or not. We just had this awesome, like, heart to heart, like kind of a deep-ish talk. And I remember consciously being like, I'm bailing on my notes. I don't give a fuck about the record. This is just an awesome talk right now. So that happens a lot, especially more, the more I do it, you're not even thinking about like, oh, there's a microphone in front of me and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think I know when I'm listening, especially if it's an artist I'm interested in, where I'll listen if I see a podcast interview with them, where I'll listen to like multiple interviews on multiple podcasts because like I really like this artist.
Yeah.
What
yeah,
I'm
I do
always
that.
hoping for is like something I don't already know.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
If it's their standard stories that get out there that like every decent level fan of that band or that person is aware of, then you're like, okay, I heard this story. And that happens, right? Where you hear it like told more than once and this almost the same way on multiple podcasts. And you're like,
Yep.
you're a fan, so you still listen through it because you're like, okay,
Yep.
this is cool. But it's more exciting to find a new nugget. You're like, oh, I never heard that before, which I
Totally.
think is where it goes when, like you let it go. And if
Yep.
they take you someplace, you're like, okay, we were here to talk about the album, but now this is a lot more interesting and someone else can look into the album, or there's facts about the album, but no one's ever talked about this with this person, or they've never shared this publicly. Those are the best.
Right.
You feel like
right.
you got a new insight or some new knowledge or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the episode we did with Jeff Fortson from Squad 50 was a blast. I mean, it was
we talked about all kinds
wild.
Yeah. Going back, I keep using this example because it's like more recent, but going back to the Dustin from Thrice episode, that was one where I hadn't really listened to any Dustin interviews in the past. So I did like start off with that kind of like, oh, how did Thrice start kind of thing. And sometimes you go through that, but if I do these days, it's kind of just like, all right, let's just blast through this maybe a sped up version or maybe just like, maybe I haven't found the flow yet with the chemistry between me and that person. With Dustin from Thrice, that was, like I said, I thought I bombed it for sure. And that was one where I got a bunch of messages from people, a few different like random, message. It's in my message requests. I'm not already connected with this person. Like one of them was like Thrice fan page, whatever account. And he was just like, I've listened to every single podcast Dustin has ever done. And I loved yours the most because there was stuff I've never heard him talk about before.
That's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the best compliment you can get, right? That was really cool.
And having listened to him on a number of podcasts, I can see how, because his style is, he takes his time.
Yeah.
He's fine with silence. He's not in a hurry, and he's not going to use a lot of words. So when you listen to him, even on his podcast that he hosts, his style, he's different as a person. But I think I had listened to his. So when I listened to yours, I had listened to his podcast that he hosts. It was like, oh, that's how he talks. Like that's him. Like he's deliberate.
Yep.
He is economic. He doesn't waste words.
Total. No, you hit. Yep.
He doesn't seem pressured to fill space. And so it's like, but I can imagine being on the other end of that, of like, oh, like how is this going?
Oh my
god!
Because
he doesn't, at least audibly, he doesn't give a lot of emotion when he's talking, and anything I've ever heard of him. So I can imagine in a conversation that being like, oh, does he hate me?
Dude,
does he hate this? Does he hate me? Does he not want to be here right now?
I know. And then you juxtapose that with, like how we talk up here. Like we talk kind of fast, up in, New England.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Especially in the winter because it's cold. You want to get the fuck inside where it's warm.
Yep.
That is so true.
That's the reason. Yeah.
No, you hit the nail on the head, man, and that's when you resort to the notes. Like you guys are really easy to talk to. A lot of people are. And you just can go off on any tangent, right? But yeah, with like a Dustin situation, it was like, all right, next, like there was no like flow at first. So it's just like I had to that was when I leaned on those notes. Mm-hmm. And I did have a lot of particular questions about the lyrics with his solo record and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that ended up leading to like the best part, I think, of the talk. He started opening up about like his
grandfather or
family.
grandparents,
Yeah,
right?
his
And
grandparents.
stuff,
Yeah, it was like such a cool.
That was a really cool part.
We went down like a Hoover Dam rabbit hole. I
Yeah,
remember,
that's right.
and it was like really. Yeah, that was when. But even then, like you said, he's very precise and calculated with his words. He's just brilliant. Like me, I'm just like blah blah. I just fucking run my yap, and maybe you can find a couple half intelligent things in there, right? But like with Dustin, he's very like selective, and just more patient, and like what I had to keep reminding myself was just like he's just introverted.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be just blah 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 like me. Like everyone's different, and and that particular, getting him was like through the doctor. So it wasn't like, I mean, I toured with them for like it was like part of a tour, and I like hung out on the bus a couple times quickly, but I didn't talk to those guys, the Thrice guys. They're all like real. One of the most chill. They're all just really cool and really chill, just hanging out, like good energy. But like when I'm touring with like a bass who I've toured with multiple times, or the Front Bottoms who I toured with for a year, or Piebald, I'm in the van with them. Like, those are like friends. But those guys I didn't get to know that well, and I wasn't like, hey Dustin, like it wasn't just like come on my podcast. It was like I hit up my tour manager like, yo, can you help me get him? And that was it. So like I didn't even like know him really at all, aside from just like, working for him for a couple of weeks. Where we didn't interact much. So, that's part of it too. Like when you get someone who you already know, it's pretty like if someone comes on, well, I guess except for Matt Pryor, I was still like, this dude's tough. But like, when you get someone like a second time, or just someone who, it's just it flows more naturally. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ace Enders was the opposite. When I had him, I always like, and he admittedly, like his personality by nature, he's very like shy, introverted dude. And that was why I was like, for some reason, I was like intimidated going into it with him. And I thought it was going to be like awkward. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to do the deep dive on the record. I'm like, well, we'll have all sorts of stuff to talk about. And this is probably where he's comfortable, like just speaking about his art. Like that will probably make him comfortable. It's the 20-year reunion. So I was just like, this would be a perfect thing to just kind of like just focus on, and it'll be easy. And then like he opened up so quickly, and it got deep, and it was just like, oh wow, I didn't expect it at all, because I had sold merch for them once, but we just kind of shook hands like, hey dude, like nice to meet you kind of thing. But I didn't expect that at all, which is that's always cool when that happens.
It is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll turn your skull to a cup, I'll decorate all my home, I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll turn your hair to a rug, I'll paint a color and tone, I'll make a chair from your bones. I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll make it level and straight, a stately and gruesome throne. I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll make a chair from your bones, I'll make a fork from your thumb, fashion some dice from your toes, I'll make a chair from your bones.
You know what they say. Early bird gets the ultimate vacation home. Book early and save over $120 with Vrbo. Because early gets you closer to the action, whether it's waves lapping at the shore or snoozing in a hammock that overlooks, well, whatever you want it to. So you can all enjoy the payoff come summer with Vrbo's early booking deals. Rise and shine. Average savings $141. Select homes only.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.